One of my favorite books is See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. On these videos, I will use several quotes from this book that has contributed to my success. The first time I read this book was in 1979. At that time, I was broke and I had no measure of success whatsoever. The book jacket said, "The how-to book that gives you a checkup from the neck up to eliminate stinking thinking and avoid hardening of the attitudes." I had the disease bad, and this book was the cure. Much of who we are and what we become depends on the way that we think. Zig, in this book, helps the reader learn to develop a better way of thinking and help them achieve their goals. I will put a link below to tell you how to get this book. Many years ago, I heard a successful man say that we tend to become like the people with whom we associate and the books that we read. At that time, I was hanging around losers. They had no ambitions or goals. It was then that I decided to make a change. I began hanging around people that were winners. They were successful. I also began reading books that would help me lead my family to a better lifestyle. The average CEO will read one book per week. As I mentioned yesterday, the book See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar is a good place to start. The #1 bestseller of all time says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." I have a coffee cup that says, "Proceed as if success is inevitable." Click the link below to get See You at the Top. In his book, See You at the Top, Zig Ziglar makes a statement: "Ability is important, dependability is critical. There's no fast track to lasting success. The route to success is a series of 6 steps. First is your self-image. Be confident. Next is your relationship with others. Then set goals. What do they say? A person without a plan is planning to fail. Next, attitude is so important. Work on that attitude. And that brings me to the next step, work. Finally, desire. In order to be successful, you have to desire to be successful. Don't accept status quo. Average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. Start working on these steps. Tomorrow, you will be a better you. In his book, See You at the Top, Zig Ziglar talks about garbage dump thinking. A philosopher once said, "You are where you are because that's where you want to be." If you're broke and you're not satisfied with your job or perhaps in a bad relationship, could it possibly be because of wrong life choices? Is it because of garbage dump thinking? Realize that today is the first day of the rest of your life. Determine that you are no longer going to be controlled by stinking thinking. Your success and happiness starts with you. You already have the ability necessary for success. In your hands, you hold the seeds of failure or the potential for greatness. Remember, start reading books that will propel you forward to success. The way you think has a lot to do with where you are in life. You have to be intentional about the way you think of yourself. You are unique. I've always said that no two people are alike. If one person is a complete duplicate of another, one is unnecessary. It's important to understand that success is not a destination, it's a journey. For me, I see it as my daily realization of God's plan for my life. Set a goal. Not one that's unobtainable, but the one that causes you to stretch. Each day should cause you to advance toward that goal. Consider balloons. Some balloons sink to the ground, and some rise to great heights. The difference is not the color or type of balloon, but what's inside. Have you ever noticed that when some people walk into a room, it seems they automatically command attention? That person appears confident. If you want to be that person, if you want to be successful, the first step is to work on your self-image. Chapter 4 in Zig Ziglar's book, See You at the Top, looks at the causes of a low self-image. It starts with the fact that we live in a negative society. I'm reminded of the father who was trying to get his son to think more positively. His son came to him and said, "Dad, I'm afraid I'm going to fail English this semester. His dad said, son, remember what I've been teaching you. You must start by being more positive about things. To that, the son replied, you're right, Dad. I am positive I will flunk English this semester. In the last video, we started to consider things that cause us a low self-image. The first was that we live in a negative society and we're surrounded by negative thinking people. The second cause may be from being ridiculed about someone's appearance or ability. Usually this happens during our childhood. I know of someone whose mother told him several times that he was a lazy, no-good-for-nothing kid. This nearly destroyed his self-image through his childhood and even into adulthood. It was not until he decided that he did have value he began working on his self-image. Today, he is a successful businessman with a positive self-image. Unfortunately, that negativity during his childhood cost him years of his life associating with the wrong friends and doing wrong things. Today, I want us to consider the third cause of a poor self-image. People have a tendency to confuse failure on a project with failure in life. Sometimes when we fail at something, we tend to feed that inferiority feeling. We need to look at failure differently. I remember critics of Thomas Edison pointing out how many times he failed to get the incandescent light bulb to work. Edison answered his naysayers, I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully found 10,000 ways it won't work. I once heard that success is built on failure. I've told people that I live my life out on a limb. Why? Because that's where you'll find the fruit. Don't worry about failing on a project. Learn by that failure and move on. Today, we consider the fourth reason that may cause a low self-image, and that is having an unrealistic and unfair comparison of experiences. For example, we may be in awe of some doctor that seemingly can work miracles in the medical field. However, if he tried to operate a crane or a forklift, he would be an utter failure. I'm reminded of the doctor who had a leaking faucet. He called a plumber. The plumber had it fixed in under 15 minutes. He handed a bill to the doctor for $300. The doctor was shocked and said, good grief, I'm a doctor and I don't make that kind of money. As the plumber packed up his tools, he replied, yeah, I didn't make that kind of money when I was a doctor either. Today, we're going to consider manifestations of a poor self-image. One way a low self-image manifests itself is the way a person reacts to criticism or the way they react to laughter. For example, if they hear someone laughing, they feel that they're laughing at them. Or if someone criticizes them, they react in anger. A poor self-image also reveals itself in a breakdown of motivation. They quit trying or they dress sloppily. However, they may do quite the opposite. They place too much emphasis on material things, cars, money, the current fad, or overdoing makeup. Sometimes erratic behavior is a result of a low self-image. If you find yourself exhibiting some of these characteristics, then you're at the right place. Let's get you into the mindset of success. Success is a choice. A good self-image produces a good salesperson or a good manager. Conversely, a poor self-image will result in, a broke person or manager. In fact, a person who has a poor self-image will rarely become a manager. A person with low self-esteem hesitates to make that sales call or is reluctant to close a deal. On a more personal level, a person with a good self-image will produce a better parent and a more honest person. In a relationship, a person with low self-esteem is reluctant to make a commitment. I heard Jordan Peterson talk about why marrying is more important than cohabitating. He said, if they refuse to commit to marriage, one of them is looking for someone better to come along. A person with high self-esteem is unafraid of commitment to the right mate. Please give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Thanks, and make it a successful day.